Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Around the Western world, people are celebrating the 103rd anniversary of the end of the Great War. In Poland, the 11th of November has an even larger significance, as it is the day that it regained its independence after years of partitions. Independence Day celebrations have been taking place all over the country since early morning. The central celebration took place at noon at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Warsaw. Earlier, in the Belvedere Palace, President Andrzej Duda presented nominations to the rank of general, orders and decorations. After 8 o'clock, President Andrzej Duda and his wife laid wreaths in front of the monuments of the Fathers of Independence in Warsaw. Then the President presented the general promotions at the Belvedere Palace. This year, Aleje Duda decided to promote 5 officers of the armed forces and 4 officers of the border guard. We have this time still continuing of celebrating 100 years of the regaining of independence by Poland. Please treat this as a challenge. Of course, this is a celebration of thanks for what we had until this day, because if it wasn't impeccable, then we wouldn't have these nominations. Then there wouldn't have been such a breakthrough in the life of a soldier or of a functionary when he enters the corpus of generals. It's a unique moment. The next point of the celebrations was the Holy Mass for the homeland, which was celebrated in the Temple of Divine Providence. We have this great hope, and let us keep it, that the candle of independence, which will be lit momentarily, will accompany us in our prayers and in our actions, which will be humane, patriotic and Christian. At noon, on Plac Pilsudski in Warsaw, the central celebrations of the Independence Day began. Representatives of state authorities, including President Andrzej Duda, Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, and the marshals of the Sejm and Senate, Elżbieta Witek and Tomasz Grodzki, laid the wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Warsaw. At the foundation of the Christian tradition, we always were and always will be. Nothing destroyed us, not wars, not partitions, nor the times that Poland was not on the map. Deputy Prime Minister and President of Law and Justice Party Jarosław Kaczyński, together with other representatives of the party, laid flowers, among others, at the monuments of Józef Pilsudski, Wojciech Korfanty and Roman Dmowski. On the occasion of the National Independence Day, a ceremony of awarding state orders and decorations was held in the presidential palace. Andrzej Duda awarded 17 people. The Order of the White Eagle was awarded to Joanna Duda Gwiazda, Leszek Długosz, Father Stanisław Małkowski and Jan Polkowski. The Order of the White Eagle is the oldest and highest state decoration awarded for outstanding services to Poland. From 1 p.m. onwards, the Independence Day March started from the Dmowski roundabout. Participants walked along Aleje Jerozolimskie to the National Stadium. The slogan of this year's march was, "Independence not for sale." At the head of the assembly stood historical reconstruction groups recreating the Polish hussars and military men from the Second World War. Behind them, thousands of participants with white and red flags. This year's Independence March proved one thing. Polish people love their homeland and want to show it, and among other ways, by marching today on Poland's Independence Day. And what we saw today, the march from the Dmowski roundabout across the Poniatowski bridge to the National Stadium, was that Poles know how to celebrate this independence. It's also important to note that there was a large representation of the Gazeta Polska clubs at the march, with the editor-in-chief Tomasz Sakiewicz at the helm. We appeal to everyone to hang their red and white flags, not only to celebrate independence, but to uphold it. Also as a sign of solidarity with our uniformed officers, who are guarding our border guards who are being attacked from the outside, but also from within. We're celebrating today. At 3 in the morning, we already started our celebrations on our departure to Warsaw. The atmosphere is fantastic, and the people are joyful and smiling. They are singing patriotic songs, we are praying, and we stand behind Poland with all our hearts. As a community of students for the Republic, we function in a very organic way every day, caring for our history, caring for Polish interests, education. That's our most important work every day. But today, as it's a holiday, as it's the 11th of November, we feel that we should be here, where all the Polish patriots are. Poles from the borderlands are an integral part of the Polish nation, right? And here I'll use a famous quotation of Robert Dmowski. We are Poles, and we therefore have Polish responsibilities. And today our responsibility is to demonstrate our patriotism on this special day. I feel like a Pole since childhood, and I would like to continue this Polishness. I would like to continue our traditions. It is important to note that a diverse range of patriotic organisations took part in today's march. Reconstruction groups, combatants were also present. Noteworthy also, representatives of the Katyn rally were also in attendance. The United Kingdom remembered its war dead with a 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock GMT this morning. The Armistice silence marked 103 years since the end of the First World War, while also honouring military personnel who lost their lives in subsequent conflicts. The Duchess of Cornwall paid her respects at the 93rd Field of Remembrance, a memorial garden near central London's Westminster Abbey, which has been organised annually since November 1928 by the UK charity The Poppy Factory. People also gathered nearby at the Cenotaph War Memorial in Whitehall, where wreaths were laid by the monument and ceremonial guards paid their respects. The United Kingdom marks Armistice Day every year on the November the 11th to mark the signing of the Armistice, the agreement which brought an end to the 1914-1918 World War. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed United States Vice President Kamala Harris to Paris on Thursday for the traditional Armistice Day ceremony. Harris's attendance at the ceremony comes after a meeting with Macron on Wednesday at the Elysee Palace as part of a 4-day visit aimed at restoring ties strained by a submarine deal whereby Australia cancelled an order for French submarines in favour of those supplied by the United States and the United Kingdom. Holding hands with Macron on Thursday, Harris said that she liked the discussions with the President, adding that they have covered a lot of ground.
I enjoyed it very much, and to continue our conversations.
No,
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for our discussion yesterday.
I liked it, and you know, we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot. In
I
fact,
think
to the
so.
point they had to
From
come
Spain
3
too.
times. Yes.
During Thursday's ceremony, Macron paid tribute to Hubert Germain, the last surviving member of an order honouring heroes of France's liberation during World War II, who died in October. World War I, fought out in large part on French soil between 1914 and 1918, left about 10 million dead on all sides and remains firmly anchored in the French psyche. The war ended with the signing of the armistice that brought the fighting to a halt at exactly 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918. A video shared this morning by the Polish Defence Ministry on its Twitter page seemingly shows Belarusian border guards carrying heavy arms such as sniper rifles and grenade launchers. As hundreds of migrants are trapped between 2 borders, tensions continue to rise overnight. On Wednesday night, the stranded migrants inside Belarus threw rocks and branches at Polish border guards and used logs to try to break down the razor wire fence in new attempts to force their way into the European Union, the authorities in Westminster said on Thursday. The crisis at the Polish-Belarusian border has sparked a new confrontation between the European Union and Russia, which dispatched 2 nuclear-capable strategic bombers to patrol Belarusian airspace on Wednesday in a show of support for its ally. The Kremlin said Russia had nothing to do with the tensions on the border and suggested the presence of heavily armed people on both sides, an apparent reference to Belarusian and Polish border guards, was a source of concern. The prospect of sanctions on Belarus, a crazy idea, it said. Since Monday, the migrants have endured freezing weather in makeshift camps. Poland has reported at least 7 migrant deaths in the month-long crisis, and other migrants have expressed the fear that they could die. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees representative in Belarus, Mulasef Mamo, called the border migrant crisis situation catastrophic this morning. As you can see, the situation is very catastrophic. The next day it will only get worse, I think. One needs to do something. We have already started providing humanitarian aid by the Red Cross. It is something we could continue doing for a few days. What we don't want to see is a camp forming here. The European Union accused Belarus of mounting a hybrid attack by pushing migrants across the border into Poland, paving the way for new sanctions against Minsk in a crisis that threatens to draw Russia in and NATO. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.